Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic podcast number 958, November 3rd, 2022. The record high on this day was just 2 years ago, 75 degrees in 2020, and it was 8 degrees in the aftermath of that Halloween blizzard, 8 degrees in 1991.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic. With Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
I got a note from Missy, who included a picture of of a fellow she's calling a future garage logician. This was our 9-year-old grandson's pumpkin this year. I thought you would enjoy it. There is hope. And then in parentheses, what he did is he took, isn't there a grill called the egg? Or
Sure.
Yeah,
the big green egg.
He turned a big green egg into a pumpkin.
Oh, nice.
And it was pretty GL-like. And she notes his mother and a kid you used to have went to school together, Missy in Eau Claire.
So
the kid I used to have is not old enough to be a grandmother.
No.
This must be the mother of the kid.
There you go.
The kid I used to have went to school with.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now.
Wait a minute. He painted up a big green egg orange?
No, it stayed green, but he
accessorized.
He said, "This is my pumpkin."
Describe for me, because I don't recall, the post-Halloween blizzard. What was our weather like? You just cited 8 degrees as a low or a
Apparently,
high?
it was very cold for a while, and then that snow melted, and then I think a snowfall or two returned by Christmas.
Okay. Because I thought I remembered a melt, that all that snow did go away, but just not that first week.
No, the first week it did not go away.
Okay.
There were tremendous ruts in the street. I remember going sideways down Grand Avenue. No, I'm serious, where the car got hooked up. It was almost like riding on rails. And the car got crossways to the street, and I went down the street sideways.
Jeez.
Oh, boy.
Until I could wrestle the wheel back. By the way, just one quick note on last night's game. I'm joining all others, including emailer Mark, to write, 4 pitchers do not constitute a no-hitter.
Amen.
They had a nice shutout, and Reavers just walked me off the ledge regarding the pulling of Christian Javier after 6 innings. Dusty Baker obviously thinking, I'm going to need this kid again this weekend. So, okay, I'm off the ledge on that one. But don't tell me this is a no-hitter.
It's not. It's a
It was
shutout.
it was a hell of a shutout.
The Twins could use a guy like Ryan Presley.
Chris,
Is 100 pitches the magic number?
I don't know.
Well, it's basically what you determine. Well, he was only through, not only, but he was through 6 innings, and he was going to need probably 140 to get through the whole game. And the series is only half over, so you're going to basically need him again.
Got it.
Hey, John, does Dusty buy into the new rules with pitching?
Not really.
But he did last night.
He does tend to leave pitchers in a little longer than most other managers. I think he goes with his gut.
Well, what did Fermander go? 6 1/3 before Dusty pulled him?
Do you suppose if this game had happened mid-season and it wasn't a big deal, he would have left him
Dusty
in?
would have let him go. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
If he didn't need him again for the World Series,
And it's not a Jack Morris situation either. Reavers and I were chatting about this. The Morris situation was now or never, do or die, no tomorrow, 7th game.
In fact, I found a clip, it must have been last week, where someone, it might have been one of you guys, asking about him post game, and he said, well, I got a long time to rest. I'm good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Before we get to some other meat, I have a word on the attack on Paul Pelosi. I think it's abhorrent that an 82-year-old guy gets hit over the head with a hammer. And I'm noting, and I think it's abhorrent what has happened to just public safety in general in San Francisco. And it's interesting to note that great attention is being given to this case by the San Francisco, the district attorney, Brooke Jenkins. And you want to say, well, that's great. And this fellow was an illegal immigrant, and he'd been free to walk the streets of San Francisco. I think it's horrible in San Francisco when a guy can ride his bike into Walgreens and load up a garbage bag with products that he steals and then rides back out of the drugstore. I think the rules of safety and civility in Los Angeles have been destroyed by the likes of Chesa Bowden, the district attorney who was recalled. Now, Brooke Jenkins might very well have succeeded Bowden because she apparently is a more law and order type and was participating in the recall efforts of Chesa Bowden. So maybe what we can anticipate is that Brooke Jenkins is not necessarily playing to the crowd here to protect Pelosi. This is the way we can only hope she's going to act when it comes to crime in San Francisco. Am I making sense?
Oh, yeah.
Because San Francisco has been, urban San Francisco has been pretty much ruined by crime,
Of course, yes.
homelessness, drug addiction.
They have the highest vacancy rate for commercial development.
I read where Steph Curry and his wife just walked out on a possible purchase in a new luxury condominium tower in San Francisco because of the crime that would have been at their feet when they left the door.
Wow.
And so he's not, in fact, only 5 units in this extraordinarily expensive place have been purchased. And so I just want to say that I was made note of this yesterday when I saw Wolf Blitzer with a one-on-one with Brooke Jenkins. Wolf Blitzer has never had a one-on-one with anybody regarding crime in San Francisco. So the temptation is to say, well, we're really on top of this at CNN. How dare they attack the husband of the Speaker of the House? I don't think it's that. I think in Brooke Jenkins, San Francisco might have some chance to go after crime.
If you want to know everything you need to know about San Francisco, in all seriousness, I follow a woman by the name of Michelle Tandler on Twitter, and she's about as far from a conservative as you can possibly get, and she's pointing out everything that's wrong with San Francisco.
What gives her the authority to do this?
She used to write for the San Francisco Chronicle. She saw the ways and the errors of the leftist movement and said, we got to fix this problem. She's a San Francisco native, and that's...
Did I read a big piece by her in the Atlantic?
Most likely, yes.
And how is
She's
that
a really good
accepted
writer.
how's that accepted by the left in San Francisco?
Oh, she's attacked, Kenny, daily. But that's why I really admire her work, because she's not afraid to go after the party she represents at all, which is what makes her a very
Small
appealing
ray of
read.
hope.
Yeah.
By the way, the office is up for re-election on Tuesday,
Right.
and Brooke Jenkins is one of the candidates. There's 3 candidates.
Well, Bowden is not reappearing, is he?
No, he's gone. She actually was a member, not of his team, but she worked in the department and resigned to support the recall campaign against Bowden.
That's what leads me to say that we can have some anticipation that she's a straight shooter.
Yeah.
That she's going to go after
But
everything.
would she be going after this person to the degree based upon if this wasn't as high profile of a person?
I think that's what I've just spent 5 minutes telling
No,
you.
I know that, but that doesn't give me any more hope, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
It does give me.
It does.
Now, obviously, this is such a high-profile case
Right.
that it has thrust her into the headlines on a daily basis. The point I'm making is that I hope she realizes that she must act this way with all crimes in San Francisco.
But see, and I don't believe that. I think she's only doing
not all
this.
crimes will be headline-making and put her in the forefront of the news. But I don't want to have time to have an argument with you. I'm telling you why you're wrong.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry.
Chesa Bowden is gone. He ruined the city. She helped get rid of him. She can't help it that one of the first cases that crossed her desk is this guy, Paul Pelosi.
True.
So I don't know why I'm reaching out so much to offer comfort to San Franciscans, but I think they have some justification in believing that this woman could help get them back on the right track.
I think I do know why, because San Francisco is basically the heart of the mystery, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Them in Seattle.
And it might as well be in Europe for its beliefs and things that don't work, like public transportation and whatever. In any event, there you have it. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I don't think the concern being given Paul Pelosi is undue. It's a big deal. It's a big story. And the guy who did it's an illegal immigrant. God knows how many crimes he might have committed in San Francisco. How much trouble has this moron caused the city of San Francisco?
Michelle Tandler did tweet what you were talking about. On October 30th, her headline says, "This is why Walgreens are closing in San Francisco. A business cannot sustain continued unabated theft at the expense of its paying customers, employees, and shareholders." And it's a video of
I've
a
seen
guy
it.
just going up and down the aisles.
Well, we've
just-
seen that video.
Well, you've witnessed it yourself, though. What
I've
should
witnessed it in St.
Walgreens do?
Paul.
What should Walgreens do instead of just the clerk you talked to said, meh, it's okay. They do it all the
I
time.
think depends if they want to spend the money. They should probably hire a security guard.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't, because the amount of product walking out of the store with that many people would put them in the red.
They must factor that into their bottom line.
Wow.
They must factor in the losses.
It's amazing.
And it shouldn't be up to me to stop those girls. It should be
No.
up to a security
Right.
officer. So, okay. What else did I have? Oh, we mentioned yesterday that there is an altar of the dead in the Capitol. And we were wondering, does that constitute religion?
Yeah.
And Bill Stein, who spent considerable time doing the Lord's work as a dentist in Haiti, writes, you spoke about the ofrenda, or altar of the dead, that is now up at the Capitol. Evidently, setting up an altar to the dead is now the thing to do among the liberal elite. Yesterday, much to my chagrin, my euphorian sister posted on Facebook pictures of her ofrenda, complete with photos of my mom, dad, great aunt Freda, and a few others on display. My dad is a fourth-degree Knight of Columbus. He would be appalled. My sister was quite pleased. I respect this tradition for my friends who are of Latin descent. They hate the term Latinx, by the way, but we are as German as Munich in my family. This display has its roots in the Mayan and Aztec cultures and has adopted some features of Catholicism, much as voodoo has done in Haiti. I asked her if she followed the custom of putting out gifts for the dear departed dead, such as a bottle of Shenley's whiskey for Aunt Frida, Fleischmann's gin for the old man, and a carton of Camels for Mom. If she is going to do this crap, she should at least follow the rules. Perhaps I can get one of my Haitian friends to come and sacrifice a chicken for Christmas. Good luck, Bill Stein. I don't think he thinks highly of those things. Oh, yeah. Okay, what's this? Just a minute. Oh, I have from Jordy. I did not watch President Biden's remarks last night. Did anyone?
I did not.
I saw some clips, but I did not see the
Same
entire
as John.
speech.
He,
Jordy notes that Biden on Wednesday tried to set expectations for a messy counting process in the midterm elections. Okay, he was setting up the loss. It's a SID rule.
Right.
This never used to be a problem, and now that we have advanced technology, it's suddenly a problem. I'm going to paraphrase Biden's speech. This is Jordy. The 2022 midterms, like the 2020 elections, are a work in progress that will, one day, when the right ballots are found, elect somebody.
Huh?
Okay.
I'm trying to find the clip. that I
Isn't
sent.
it interesting that both sides of the political aisle use that same tactic? Mm-hmm. Wasn't it used before the 2020 election?
Didn't Hillary use it?
And Hillary used it in 16. Yeah, it's the new tactic. And didn't it start in Florida with Jeb Bush? Or is my memory incorrect?
No, that was the hanging chads.
Doesn't it go back to 12 or even 8?
It could, but it's a lack of to be unable to accept defeat is an indication of a poor character.
But wouldn't you say that started with Gore and Bush? All this election
That's when it was. Yes, that's when it was.
Because he's not my president. They all said Bush is not my president.
Right.
I'm going to leave. I'm going to go to Canada. I'm going to.
Right. It's the same people who are leaving Twitter now, but
head
not.
north. Take
Right.
35.
Yeah.
The difference, though, in
Nobody
that
went
election,
to Canada.
Yeah.
Which
And
one, John? Which one?
the difference in the 2000 election,
Yeah.
both candidates realized the election was more important than saying, I'm going to cause trouble like certain candidates did in 2020. And
Right.
instead of living with the outcome, they both Bush and Gore said, whatever happens, happens, done.
Right.
So whether you agreed or disagreed with it, you should have agreed with your candidate. That's the way I see it.
So that may have been the last classy election move.
It was. It's
Such, the upcoming election in Biden, were we off the air? We might have been doing some off-air chatting when you brought up George Will and his editorial. I just scanned that.
a great piece.
It's reprinted today in the Star Tribune. Wow, that's a really good piece.
George
That's
Will
a
has
good piece.
written a Washington Post column suggesting that for the good of the country, Biden and Harris should not run in the next election to save the country from Trump.
But he doesn't get to that until the very last, almost innocuous paragraph.
Right. Well, Will, who is a bright guy,
A bit of a libertarian.
yeah,
Am I wrong?
and he notes with obvious.
That's why I trust him.
Well,
Boy,
he
I'm
notes
sorry.
with great credibility that among Trump's horrendous faults is he's certainly not a conservative. And it's been an embarrassment to the likes of George Will to see people call themselves conservatives. Hannity calls himself a conservative.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even know what that means. I heard Hannity yesterday saying, wouldn't it be great to have Herschel Walker as a senator? Herschel Walker's insane.
Yeah, it would not be
He's nuts.
right.
And he's been made nuts by concussions, is my...
And he's just running on his
Prediction.
name. It's not.
Well, if Herschel Walker isn't a conservative. He doesn't even know what it means.
I was going to, I'll just be quiet.
He doesn't know what spaghetti means.
I had a thought, but it got stuck in my neck.
I was going to play a couple of clips from Biden, but at what
Spaghetti.
it's rambling nonsense, and none of it is factual. None of it. In fact, the White House, Joe, yesterday issued this tweet just shy of 12 hours ago. Seniors are getting the biggest increase in their Social Security checks in 10 years through President Biden's leadership.
What audio do you want to play that you're hesitant to play?
Well, can I point out why they deleted that tweet?
Yeah.
Well, the reason that Social Security is so high is because we've had the highest inflation in 40 years.
Yeah,
right.
it's based on inflation. Yeah, the increase is
So
based
they
on
were
inflation.
sitting here patting themselves on
Hell,
the back.
It's Positive Thursday.
That's
They're
a
trying
good
to put a
point.
positive spin on it.
Yeah, you're right. That was a Joe spin.
What audio do you have from Biden? Is it from last night's remarks?
It is, but just give me a second. I'm going to see which one just give me a second here.
All right, because, while you're doing that, I'm going to read a challenge to John Heidt.
Uh-oh.
Be ready, Johnny.
I'm ready. I'm poised.
Derry Hirsch in Divide, Colorado writes, I would be surprised if you read this letter on the air. Well, I usually read the letters on the air that you tell me I won't. I would be surprised if you read this letter on the air, but at least I can get my opinions through to you. We all know that Johnny Heidt leans more left than your average GLer.
No.
I think that's a fair statement.
I don't.
Well,
I
whatever.
don't.
There's one. Well, you know what? Continue reading the letter because that will lead, probably, I'm guessing, to what I will say afterwards. Go ahead.
Having someone with a different viewpoint in discussions during the show can be advantageous as well as entertaining as they incite spirited repartee among the participants. However, when he is acting as a newsman, his personal political and sociological views should not play a part. Joe, you have often expressed dismay at the bias of the news media at large, their failure to report facts, and in some cases, completely ignoring stories, but rather twist things to their own agenda is a slap in the face to true journalists. During Mr. Heidt's news segment, he seems to delight on an almost daily basis of finding some story that is anti-Trump, regardless as to whether it is truly newsworthy or in some cases factual. All the while, he neglects to give reports of more significant stories of disreputable behavior, lies, or in some cases, illegalities of politicians from the left. Oh boy, I have trouble with that, Derry. I'm not sure I buy your reasoning there.
No.
Therefore, I am throwing down the gauntlet. Mr. Heidt, I am challenging you that every time you find it necessary to provide some sort of negative report on Trump, that you also include a report of equal or greater significance of someone from the progressive left. Those kinds of stories are certainly not difficult to find. Prove to us GLers that you are more than just a mouthpiece for the left, but are in fact a reputable journalist. And while you are at it, you can also drop your proclivity to include a story that has some sort of sexual content to it. Those kinds of stories have no business being on a legitimate newscast. It should be left to the tabloids where they belong. Thank you for listening. Always pushing back Derry out in Colorado.
Which one of us gets to
I
go
get to.
first?
No, me.
I think it should be John, maybe.
Well, can I just really
No,
quick?
I
This will
want
take
John to
2
go
seconds.
first.
What was the person's name again?
Derry.
Derry, I'm so sorry.
No bear meat at the glory hole.
Oh, way to go. Way to go. Now Derry's going to write you a letter. Part of the problem here is he wants tit for tat. If there's a story about Trump, let's say right after the elections, just as an example, let's say the former president gets indicted. Mm-hmm. Should I ignore that?
No, you should.
Make sure I put a story where there's a Democrat who says something silly. No, of course not. And what happens so much with the former president is they are news stories because he is the former president, number one. And number two, it's not always positivity that's associated with the story,
Right.
if that makes sense. He's being investigated for 8 different things that are crimes.
So I have a deeper thought about this. It finally has occurred to me why GLers have trouble with me in my opposition to Trump. The difference between GLers who favor Trump and me is the following. You still apparently regard him as a serious political force or political candidate. I never have. I don't think he is I think he's a despicable soul whose brain was stunted at the age of 6 or 7. I'm not being facetious. I don't think he is a meaningful thinker in any positive sense of the way to look at that. I don't consider him a guy in the GL lexicon. He's just not a guy. He's a pus on the skin of America. He's a boil. And I don't regard him in any way, shape, or form as someone who has great ideas. And if he does, they occur to him whimsically and accidentally, or they come from people around him. I cannot take him seriously, never have. And I really, really am on George Will's side, calling for Harris, who will really eviscerated in this column. I'm on Will's side and calling for Harris and Biden to step aside, and the Democrats are going to have to find somebody, or the Republicans are going to have to find somebody to prevent Trump from winning again, because that would be a poison to this country. It would not work.
But when you're presented with the 2 options you were presented with back in 2020, what the hell are you supposed to do?
I didn't have an option.
That's what I'm saying. None of us really did. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, stop right there. Who on this show disagrees with what Joe just said? I don't. Matthew?
I don't.
And obviously John doesn't. Back to the letter, I think his criticism is more a criticism of the show in general.
I think so.
John is not doing hard news here. This isn't like back in the days when we were on the radio and John would step in and do the news and then step out. This is an opinion show. This is an entertainment show. And we don't represent the conservative side, just like we don't represent the liberal or Democrat side. We represent
The common
Joe,
sense side.
Matthew, Chris, John, and Kenny's side. Us, just dudes. And we're floating all over the map politically. So I don't think you can blame John on just one thing. I think, to me, John is doing a wonderful job, and I enjoy his...
Gee.
Oh, shut up, John. I enjoy his contributions, and I think Joe does too. Right, Joe?
I do.
Yeah.
Plus, John is part of the show, so it's entirely to be expected that some of his opinions are going to leak into newscasts. It's not like I'm assigning John the role of Walter Cronkite here.
Right.
This is just
Right.
we're just us sitting in the boathouse above
and I'll-
the Spoon Lake.
I'll reveal a top secret thing that I probably shouldn't. I told Joe when he asked me to join you permanently on the podcast, I said, well, I'm sorry, but I disagree with a lot of the S you say. And Joe said, bring it on.
I don't care.
Well, that's
Right.
the beauty of Garage Logic is, when you used to take calls, if someone disagreed, they went to the head of the class,
Yep.
and you said, "Okay, give me your point, and see what we can."
And I
do."
didn't argue with him, did I, Rook? I
No.
told him why they were wrong.
You told them why they were wrong before you hung up on them. No, and you never hung up. But that's the beauty. You don't have to agree with John Heidt 100% of the time. John Heidt doesn't have to agree. There's no litmus test here. And if you disagree, we can still go out and have lunch together and not hate each other. That's the beauty of it.
Eckberg Lammers is getting a great response from the GLers because the GLers are awakening to the fact that when they die, and unfortunately we all do, they don't want their estate, their belongings, their stuff to become the province of the courts. They need an estate plan or a will. They need this spelled out so your family can get along smoothly with their life and their business because Eckberg Lammers has been creating estate plans and wills for their clients for more than 70 years. They specialize in working with people like us on estate planning. And if you don't think you need one, think again. You all have everything. You think you don't have anything, but you have everything. Especially, it's going to be looked at as everything when you're not around.
That's true.
And when you're not around, you want your family to have all of that in place so you can avoid the courts deciding for you what's going to happen to your stuff. The estate planning team at Eckberg Lammers can help you make sure your estate transitions smoothly. And that's what you want. You're not going to be here. You'll be in the great beyond.
You want a smooth transition.
But you'll know that back on the orb, known as Earth,
On the orb.
back on the orb, things are taking place smoothly the way you would have wanted. Make an appointment with Eckberg Lammers and take care of this. It's vitally important. It doesn't make any difference if you're old or young. I'd get it done. I've done it. Call Eckberg Lammers at 651-439-2878 or visit Eckberg Lammers at eckberglammers.com/will.
Hey GLers, it's Reavers here, and you've heard me talk about my relationship with Josh Arnold for quite some time now. And the reason I advocate that you give Josh a call is simple. Well, actually, it's two reasons: trust and results. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions. As he says, past results do not guarantee future returns. Well, that is true. Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. And you can trust Josh to make sure that you are not paying more in fees than you are selling in returns. Yes, that is more common than you would think. So do yourself a favor by booking a 48-minute free consultation that has absolutely no obligation. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. That number once again is 952-925-5608. You will be glad you did.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
No, you need it right now. Right now. Brands that you need right now, Moon Motorsports has them right now. Check out the website, moonmotorsports.com. If you've waited all year to finally get that motorcycle of your dreams, and the day has come. And it doesn't matter if it's Triumph, Ducati, BMW, KTM, Husqvarna, Honda, Yamaha, Can-Am. Go ahead, buy that bike right now from Moon Motorsports. They will provide free winter storage or they'll deliver your new ride for you for free. Minnesota locations only, though. And this week is the perfect week to take possession of your dream bike. Moon really does have the widest selection of bikes in the area. Stop into Moon Motorsports and experience the unparalleled motorcycle lineup and meet a couple of their bike experts, both Dave and Jake. They're always ready to help their fellow riders. Moon Motorsports is our Minnesota motorcycle, ATV, side-by-side, service parts, sales. They do it all there. They're located on the south side of 94, just west of Highway 25 in Monticello, and on the web at moonmotorsports.com.
Yesterday-
I have your audio. I forgot to tell you during the break whenever you'd like it.
Well, before I move on, I would like to. Is this from last night?
Yes, this is
This
from
is Mr. Biden.
This is President Biden yesterday talking about the transition to electric vehicles, Joe.
And by the way, in your home, you know, the batteries that we have now, and they're getting more and more sophisticated. You know, a lightning storm takes out all the electricity in the house. Guess what? You can plug your car into the house and make it light up. You think I'm joking. It's a little simplistic, but literally you can. Literally you can. Oh, this summer. It really is kind of.
I can't. Never mind.
So if you lose all the power in your house, you just plug in your car and you're good to go.
Where would you plug something into the car?
Great
The
question.
car doesn't have an electrical outlet
Right.
on it.
Right.
Well, maybe not now. John Kerry also had a quote about that very thing yesterday as well.
Ford Motor Company and General Motors and other companies around the world have spent hundreds of billions of dollars retooling their plants. Why?
'Cause you
Because
told
they're
them to.
going electric. And by 2035, that's all we're going to have in America. Electric cars being manufactured, not on the road, but being sold in new cars. That's President Biden's goal. By 2035, he wants the power sector of America to be carbon free. So if we accelerate these efforts, which is what technology and entrepreneurial activity help us to do, this is going to change even faster. And so that's where I draw enormous hope and some optimism, because I believe we can still make this happen. But we have to make the right decisions and implement those decisions.
You apparently can use the cars to power your house.
Really?
But if you do, if it's a Tesla, you void your warranty. I don't know why, but
That's quite a catch that Joe wasn't aware of, apparently.
yeah, and apparently some folks have done this and bragged about it on social media.
And then they lose their warranty.
Then they lose their Tesla warranty.
What a neat world we live in, huh, Mayor?
So,
Yesterday, the Star Tribune editorial board endorsed school board candidates. I only mention it because it shows how it's a very interesting look into the failed academy. And I believe this would be true the closer you get to the country's tallest buildings all around the country. Star Tribune editorial board endorsed Colin Beachy, Sonia Emmerich, and Laurel Myra for the school board. Minneapolis voters will send 5 new board members to the city's board next month, a majority of the 9-member board. None of the incumbents whose terms are up opted to run again. And one former member abruptly resigned, citing broken trust between the board administration and the community. The new Minneapolis Public School Board will need to address rebuilding trust after a difficult teacher strike last spring and the rollout of a controversial redistricting plan. Board members also must tackle declining enrollment, budget shortfalls. Let me stop right there. If the enrollment is declining, quit
Right.
asking for more money.
Exactly.
Right.
A lawsuit over hiring practices and the growing number of student mental health issues, declines in test scores among all students, and continuing disparities in academic outcomes between white students and students of color, heightened by COVID-related remote learning, are also on the agenda. But when you read about these people, when I read about these people, I don't come away with great confidence in their ability to lead anything, much less a school district.
So let me get this straight. Check this out.
Lay it down, bro.
Enrollment's down. Mm-hmm. Test scores are down.
That's correct.
But what we do is we need more money. I'll fix all that.
Right. And there's been no studies in this country. This is a serious note. Wow. There's been no studies taken in this country, or maybe they've been taken, but none can indicate that the more money you spend, the higher the achievement. That does not, there is no cause and effect there. Nope. Yet, arguably, their most important task will be selecting a new super following the departure of Ed Graff. He's been there for 6 years. Ed's leaving. The November 8 general election ballot will include 3 district seats, 1, 3, and 5, and 2 at-large citywide seats. 4 are vying to represent the whole city, and 2 are running in the District 5 race. District 1 and District 3 are uncontested. And again, we learned that the Star Tribune editorial board's choices are Colin Beachy, Sonia Emmerich, and Laurel Myra. Beachy is 51. He's been teaching for 21 years, the last 8 in special ed in Minneapolis. As a current district employee, cannot also serve on the board and would have to leave that position if elected. Beachy told the board he was inspired to run by the murder of George Floyd, which he took on an equity leadership role at his school and the teacher strike. He is bright and thoughtful and strikes us as someone who would do his homework and carefully consider issues facing the board. Emmerich, 40, she's endorsed, Sonia. She uses the they, them pronouns. She's a community organizer, which is a euphemism for anything you want it to be. A board member of the Autism Society of Minnesota and a member of the District Special Ed Advisory Committee. They also have a special needs son. They does.
Oh. They both do?
I don't know.
That's
their
gracious.
interest in board service was sparked by seeking services for their son, prompting them to think about advocating not only for him but for others. They're also impressive and well-formed. So the Star Tribune buys this BS. They're referring to Emmerich as a there because she has pronouns, they, them. No, she has a mental illness problem. You're not a they, them.
Right. You have a name.
Allegedly has a mental illness problem.
Thank you.
They're also there. Jesus Christ.
T-H-E-I-R? They're possessive or they are?
T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E.
Okay.
They're also impressive and well-informed about school operations. Emmerich's the they, them, said they're not ashamed to be poor. So they're poor because it has taught them how to budget wisely and navigate many of the same federal and local programs that Minneapolis school families depend upon. I can't believe my life has come to this. They have demonstrated skills as a youth and street outreach worker and would prioritize equity issues. Of course they would. Former MSP board member Carrie Jo Felder, 49, also served on the... Is Felder?
Well, she's, not
Felder's the
endorsed,
one in
right?
trouble, right?
Oh, yeah. Now, we'll get to Felder here, so stay tuned. Former MPS
Stay
board
tuned.
member Carrie Jo Felder, 49, served on the board in the District 2 seat, but was defeated in her 2020 re-election bid. She must be running against they, them. She is...
Which one was they again?
they, them is Laurel Myra,
Got it.
Wow.
I think. No, I'm
No,
sorry.
Sonia Emmerich.
Sonia Emmerich is they,
is
them.
they, them.
Yeah.
They is they am. They, them. They is they am.
God help
In through
me.
the nose.
God
In through the nose.
give me the patience. I pray for patience.
You got ahead of me. I started reading about Colin Beachy.
Well, don't get ahead of me. Let's just relax here.
No, you were ahead of me. I'm reading about Colin Beachy. He is passionate about project-based learning, social emotional learning, equity, and restorative practices,
Restorative.
thank you, and beliefs that relationships are vital to education. And the one thing that popped up was social emotional learning, and I thought, what kind of bunk is that? And it actually sounds like something we all just acquire organically.
Right.
It's the process which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others. So that's not so bad, but what in the hell is equity and
Restorative
practices? What is that?
I don't know, but I'll be glad to come back to it. They, them is running against Felder.
They, them.
And Felder, in her interview with the Star Tribune ends up telling us why they can't endorse Felder. Felder touts previous notable accomplishments, including bringing AP classes to some North Side schools, but she struggled to work collaboratively with her colleagues on the board and could be more disruptive than helpful during meetings. In a recent interview, she seemed scattered and not focused on the questions asked. Then last week, she responded to social media posts that alleged she'd physically abused members of her family by saying the concerns were valid and that she is consulting with her doctor about a possible substance abuse issue. We'd argue that she should focus on her health and end her campaign for school board. Also on the ballot for an at-large seat is Lisa Skefji, 40, Vice President of Community Impact and Engagement with the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. She could not be reached by the editorial board. Laurel Myra, 41, is director of the Mino Bimadiziwin Wellness Clinic, a clinic operated by the Red Lake Nation that offers pediatric mental health care and adult mental health and substance abuse treatment. Maybe Felder could drop in there. And she's an enrolled member of the tribe. She holds a PhD and is a licensed marriage and family therapist. Myra decided to run for the school board after working on the MPS American Indian Parent Advisory Committee, where she learned more about the district's budget struggles and special education funding gap. If elected, she would look for a new super with strong business acumen and one who has demonstrated skills at improving student outcomes and closing racial. She almost sounds sane.
Yeah.
And closing racial achievement disparities. Her experience as a director of the clinic and her leadership on racial equity issues, along with her mental health expertise, would serve the district well. Okay. Myra is opposed by Lori Norville, 50, an executive assistant at the Hennepin Theater Trust and a former math teacher. She thinks her perspective as a former teacher would be valuable, and she hopes she could help more educators and parents feel heard. However, in this race, Myra is the better choice because of her range of experience. The unopposed candidates are Abdul Abdi in District 1 and Fathia Ferrari in District 3. Beachy, Felder, Norville, Abdi, and Ferrari have DFL and Minneapolis Federation of Teacher Union endorsements.
Myra seems to me to be, I like what she does now.
Yeah.
I mean, what she's doing, the work she's doing right now, not being on the school board, seems pretty interesting and cool. And I can't believe she would leave all that.
So they did endorse they, them.
Yes.
Because
They did.
them is running against Felder,
Correct.
who coincidentally enough made today's newspaper. She apparently...
And they, them again, that's Sonia Emmerich,
That's
right?
Sonia Emmerich, correct.
Look at how fast you guys have succumbed to that. You're calling them they, them.
Well,
Well,
I'm doing it ironically.
It's not respectful, Matthew.
She
Just
was
gonna be
contacted,
honest.
they, them. Is Felder they, them?
No.
No,
Emmerich.
Felder's running
Emmerich.
against they, them.
Yeah, Emmerich
Okay.
is.
Well, Felder got a bit of a jam. She is consulting a doctor about a potential substance abuse issue and will soon meet with a mental health professional. Felder said she is on painkillers due to a case of severe osteoarthritis. She was attacking her family apparently in a car, right?
On vacation in, Maryland or something like that?
A Minneapolis school board candidate is facing calls to drop out of the race days ahead of the election amid allegations she endangered her stepchildren on a recent trip to visit colleges in Maryland. Carrie Jo Felder is running for one of 2 at-large seats on the board. She's married to the father of 2 students in the district and refers to herself as their bonus mom.
Wow.
The children's mom, Van Daly,
Who can keep up with all this?
in a Facebook post published October 24, accused Felder of nearly causing a car wreck while she was allegedly intoxicated by assaulting everybody, including my ex-wife, while he was driving. Wait a minute. No.
My ex while he was driving. Not
Oh,
wife.
I'm sorry. My ex while he was driving. Reach for comment Wednesday. Felder declined to answer questions from the Star Tribune. All right, who's Daly?
Daly is the...
That's the mother, the
Carson.
child's mother.
Yeah.
Van Daly.
The biological mom?
That's she, her.
Yeah,
She,
Van
her.
Daly.
Daly attended a news conference Wednesday where she outlined the allegations. Nafisa Muhammad, an education activist and parent of students in the district, who was also there, said she believes Felder is unfit to lead. I do too, Nafisa.
Well,
We need leaders who are. Let me turn. Apologize. We need leaders who are
role models.
whatever they said there. I don't know. where that-
Role models.
Yeah.
Role
okay.
models.
All right. Yeah.
So we've got a problem here. We've got
I'll say.
they, them against Felder, and both of them, from my point of view, are awful.
You know, when you were
Thus, the failed academy.
I was just going to say, why in God's name would you ever send your kid to a public school in Minneapolis?
Well, they used to be all right.
Right.
I'm
but they're not anymore.
I'm not ashamed or disappointed that my son went.
Well, the teachers' union is headed by somebody who was opposed to capitalism.
Yeah.
So what is this? This is just a, you know what this is? It's a big bleep show.
Is it Greta Thunberg? Because she's also against
No,
capitalism.
she finally came out though, didn't she?
Yeah.
She's ahead of there. Role models, oh yeah. Local news site Southwest Voices published a statement attributed to Felder last week acknowledging the social media post expressing valid concerns about my behavior this past weekend on an out-of-state trip. I want everyone to know that I'm taking this situation very seriously and working to repair harm however I can. Felder, don't run. Go away. It's bad enough who's running. You don't need to
We
run.
don't need your
Well, then
help.
she's conceding to they, them, there.
What?
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
God help us.
I don't think he. Yeah.
I like how you got really confused there for a brief second.
I was.
When you
Yeah.
thought-
I was
when you thought it
finding
was
joy in that as well.
Ex-wife was a wife.
I thought I didn't. I'm puzzled. I'm flabbergasted. Let's return with John Height's news.
So I got a great tweet over the weekend from Paulie, and he says, "Reeves, guess where? Patio at 30 Bales Restaurant in downtown Hopkins." It was a nice weekend, Joe.
Oh, wouldn't it have been great yesterday?
It would have been.
No windy, your burger would have flown away.
But I'm trying to guess what he ordered. I'm going to guess that he ordered the chicken and sausage gumbo.
Ooh, yeah.
Which sounds really good. But I also got a note from Daryl. He took his wife to 30 Bales last week and said, "Reeves, you were right, and thanks for the recommendation from Such. The roasted Brussels sprouts were absolutely fantastic.
Love them.
They also come with a cheese dip topped with chips, maple bacon. Is it Lardens, Rook? Lardons?
That I don't know.
I love food that tastes like dirt, and I mean that in only the most positive sense.
I agree.
Okay.
Beets, Brussels sprouts. I just love
Radishes.
it. Yep.
And his wife ordered the fried cauliflower tacos because she's a health nut. My wife has also had those, and she cannot speak highly enough of them. But that's the beauty of 30 Bales Restaurant. They will take care of everybody. The health-conscious person in your life, the fat slob like me, they'll take care of everybody. The lunch menu starts at 11 a.m. and goes to 3 p.m. Happy hour Tuesday through Friday from 3 to 5:30. And they also have the brunch. So if you got family in town, Saturday and Sunday at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., brunch, they will take care of you at 30 Bales Restaurant in downtown Hopkins. And they do online ordering and takeout too. So if you don't want to stop in or dine in anyway, you can do the takeout option as well. 30bales.com, that's their website. And as I mentioned last week, those craft cocktails look absolutely outstanding. So stop in, say hi to Todd and the entire crew at 30 Bales Restaurant in downtown Hopkins, and please tell them you heard about them here on the Garage Logic podcast.
Seafoamworks.com is an excellent source on the proper use of all the Seafoam products. They also have some really good advice on their website on reviving bad-running small engines. Now, if you don't know how, it's really nothing to fear. It's pretty easy to learn. Basically, throw in a new plug, new air cleaner, clean that carb out. A blast of top engine cleaner from Seafoam will do that. Clean out that gas tank. That means drain it. And then use fresh gas with a gulp of Seafoam motor treatment. The motor treatment can also be used to stabilize your fuel for up to 2 years. You hear us talking about that all the time on GL, making it ideal for storing your seasonal stuff. And everything it does for small engines, it's also going to do for your automobile, truck, tractor, and everything else, both gas and diesel powered. It's great preventive medicine. And it's great for reviving engines and trannies, too, for that matter, with Seafoam Tranny Tune. You got to check out this website. Pop around on it. Check it out, seafoamworks.com. And you can buy the stuff almost anywhere. That's what I love about them. Our local company with a global reach and a true miracle in a world of bad gas, Seafoam.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
So, Minneapolis voters, when you go to the polls, keep in mind that for school board, your choice in one race is they, them versus Felder. Felder's got some problems, and the other one's they, them.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Kelsey sends me a lot of videos, including one that was delightful. He sent me a compilation. It was called How We Used to Spend Our Sunday Nights.
Okay.
And it was a compilation of all the musical acts that have appeared on Ed Sullivan.
Oh.
It was great. But he also sent me one just to show you who's going to be going to the polls. A guy is filming a couple attempting to put air in the tires of their Tesla.
Oh, dear God.
They had pulled up to a propane tank and had the propane hose in its fitting.
No.
Attempting to jam it onto the stem of the tire. What do you call those things? The stem.
A valve stem.
The valve stem of the tire. And this guy was filming them and said, "What are you doing?" And they were a little puzzled to be filmed.
The propane thing is huge.
And they said, "What are you doing?" Meaning the guy filming him. And they said, "We're trying to put air in our tires." And he said, "That's a propane tank."
Fail.
And they went, "Oh, thank you for telling
Thanks
us."
for the heads up.
Yeah.
That reminds me of
That's a Three Stooges episode.
So,
and it was almost a cliche of stupidity because the woman, there was a couple, and the woman had a gigantic bosom.
Okay.
She was.
Right.
Sure.
Well, then all is
miss.
forgiven.
Exactly.
then.
Hard to miss. Yeah.
All is forgiven.
This is
Right,
the current
so-
conditions.
How can I help?
I don't think it was fake. It was real. These idiots were trying to put propane in their tire. What would have happened?
Wow.
So that reminds me of a story.
It wouldn't work.
I'm in high school and I'm working at the Faribault Ace Hardware, not a Fratelloni's. And there was a new hire, who was tasked with filling up a gentleman's kerosene tank in the back. Well, the gentleman had handed him a red gas can, And as he was, and I didn't see him, but I said, "What's he doing over there?" So I walked over. He was about to pour it in, and it had gas in, like a little bit of residue inside. And I sprinted and grabbed it from, like, "What are you doing? You almost killed all of us, you idiot!" But again, oblivious.
You
Just
have to
completely oblivious.
undergo a certification and training process to fill LP tanks, do you not?
Well, this is just one of those, handheld canisters. It wasn't, you know what I mean? But yes, he should have been, but he should not have been doing it is part of the problem.
Here's John Heidt.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by Rivertown Medical Center in Stillwater.
This biased, leftist-oriented news.
That's right. Yes. Thank you. And I'll make sure there's a sex story in it today, too. The Rivertown Medical Center in Stillwater can help you out with peripheral neuropathy. If you got it, you know it. It's, that tingling and numbness you get in your hands and your feet, and it causes all kinds of problems. Your doctor probably has told you you're just going to have to live with it, or maybe prescribe drugs like Lyrica, gabapentin that don't really provide much relief. Well, Dr. Dan and Rivertown Medical Center can help you out. Neuropathy, it's caused by damage to the nerves, caused by a lack of blood flow that causes the nerves to begin to die off. They can help you out as long as you have not sustained 85% nerve damage. If you want some more info on this, find out, and to get a free neuropathy scan, you can attend a free seminar this Saturday at Wingate by Wyndham, 3420 Northgate Boulevard North in Coon Rapids. Fellas, if you want to come up, that's about 2 minutes from my house. I'd make you some coffee, give you a cup of coffee, and you can run over there, huh? What do you think?
Yeah. I ain't got no tingling yet.
I'll be there.
3420, I don't think you will. 3420 Northgate Boulevard in Coon Rapids, 651-661-4311. Leave your name and cell number, and you'll automatically get a text reservation for the seminar. Again, that number 651-661-4311. It's this Saturday, 10 a.m. at Wingate by Wyndham, 3420 Northgate Boulevard North in Coon Rapids. Get a free neuropathy scan and find out all you can about peripheral neuropathy. Rivertown Medical Center in Stillwater. I did, because you guys do this to me all the time. Way back at the beginning of the show, we talked about the weather after the blizzard in 91.
Yes.
So I went and looked up temps.
Yes.
The Halloween and November 1st temps ranged from 23 to 32. So it was pretty mild temp-wise.
Right.
When we got through all that snow. Then after that, the next few days fell into the teens and stayed in the teens for roughly a week, but they only got into the 30s. And by mid-November, daytime highs were all in the mid-40s.
Really?
So
wow.
That then cooled off again toward Thanksgiving.
Right.
But it did. It must have. I don't recall this, but it must have all melted fairly quickly.
Well, it created icy ruts.
Yeah, right away for the first week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
In the news, with a unanimous vote, the Minneapolis City Council has confirmed Brian O'Hara as the city's next police chief. He was, of course, the director of police services in the mayor's office in Newark, New Jersey. He had started as a street patrol officer in Newark, rose through the ranks over the past 2 decades. O'Hara says among his priorities is addressing what he called a crisis in staffing at the Minnesota Police Department. He vowed to make a vigorous recruiting effort to hire more officers because he said MPD is down about 1/3 of its officers from previous staffing levels. He said the city wants good police officers, right? I'm sure city residents don't care where those persons are from. They just want good officers and good policing. O'Hara starts the job already this upcoming Monday, November 7th.
Wasn't it Newark where either yesterday or the day before, is it O'Hara? It's O'Hara. Right?
O'Hara. Mm-hmm.
Two of O'Hara's cops were shot trying to serve a warrant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're alive.
Yeah, they were not killed, but they were shot.
Yeah.
2 Newark, New Jersey police officers. According to today's report from the U.S. Drought Monitor, nearly 80% of Minnesota is experiencing conditions that are abnormally dry. Of that, over half is in a moderate drought, while nearly 20% is in a severe drought. The percentage of areas experiencing extreme drought is now at 6.5%. That's an increase from last week's 4.2%. A swath of land stretching from the western portion of Ramsey County to the eastern portions of Lincoln and Pipestone counties is in an extreme drought. Dry conditions causing numerous brush fires in the state yesterday, including one in the North Metro. It was around Columbus near the Carlos Avery Wildlife Management Area. West Broadway Avenue between Lexington and Kettle River Boulevard were shut down for a good portion of yesterday afternoon.
What is Carlos Avery? I've been hearing about it all my life. I've never been. There's lions there and tigers and elephants and what is it?
No, no. You drive by.
Can the public go in there?
It's
sure. Yeah.
It's like any other spot in Minnesota. It's mosquitoes and mud hens.
Why would I
skunks.
go through there? Is it beautiful?
It's nice. It's what Kenny just said. It's
Minnesota.
It's But
I think it's uncanny, and it's probably just me, but it seems that every storm and rain missed the Twin Cities this summer. It just seemed to always either go north or south of us.
Huh.
That's just probably me, but there you have it.
There were
Carlos Avery.
You mean the block you live on?
Right.
I know there were some times we'd come in the next day and you'd go, we missed the storm again.
Yeah.
And Chris and I would say, it poured lightning and thundered for an hour at my house.
We did not have that.
Yeah. From the Pioneer Press, pointing to fuel and inflation-related pressures over the past year, the St. Paul City Council has approved rate hikes for residential garbage collection, ranging from about 5 to 9%, depending on the type of service. That is in addition to a $5 increase to the city's.
Why not?
Right. The floodgates are open now.
What's another $5?
That $5 is just for the annual cart replacement.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So.
Well, I haven't had an annual cart replacement. Those carts last forever, don't
Serious question. How many major cities in this country handle garbage?
I have no idea.
It's laughable.
I don't
Wait,
know.
Minneapolis does.
It's
part of.
I bet most of them do.
It's part of your water bill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're great. You could throw away a dead body. I mean, stiff. You could lean it up against your garage out in the alley, and they'll haul it away, no questions asked.
Well, I applaud that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Do we really want to applaud that?
Yeah,
Customers with the largest trash bins will experience the biggest price increases. Per quarterly billing cycle, property owners can expect to pay between an extra $3.18 for every other week pickup to the smallest cart to an added $9.58 for weekly pickup of the largest cart after tax. That's almost $40 a month. That's a lot of money. That adds up to an extra $12.72 to $38.32 before the annual $5 annual special assessment collected by the city. Well, that's for the year. That's not for. I'm sorry. That's for the year, not for the week. So $40 a year.
Oh, that's really
What the
good.
hell?
That's way cheaper. I pay $70 every 3 months.
No, Kenny, that's in addition to what you're paying now. An extra $40. So. The prices were negotiated with a consortium of trash haulers. They apply to owners of 1 to 4 unit dwellings and will be effective January 1st through September 30th.
We would have people come in from the suburbs with their couches and mattresses and washing machines and old fish houses and just drop them off at the end of my driveway in the alley there, and the city would take them away and no questions asked.
I think we get one large item a year.
That's it?
Yeah. You can put a couch out there once a year.
Huh. You're getting screwed.
Tell me about it.
There's vehicle theft, and then there's this. Court records show a Montana man will serve probation after pleading guilty to 2 charges stemming from a chase in Stearns County last month that involved a stolen semi-truck. 38-year-old Isaac Lee Burdenground Jr. of Gary Owen, Montana, entered guilty pleas to charges of fleeing a peace officer in a motor vehicle and a DWI in a commercial motor vehicle. 2 other charges, theft driving a motor vehicle without owner's consent and DWI, were dismissed. According to online court records...
Go ahead.
Well, it was just a double charge, basically. He was still charged.
Oh,
with DWI.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
According to online court records, Judge Laura Morley stayed a 21-day sentence for both of the charges that he was convicted of, then sentenced him to serve 5 years of supervised probation with the Stearns County Community Corrections Department. He also has to pay supervision and program fees. This all happened just west of St. Cloud back on October 13th. The Stearns County Sheriff's Office said they discovered a semi-truck pulling a 44-foot flatbed trailer with a forklift on it had been stolen out of Fridley around noon that day. The semi was found heading west on the interstate near County Road 2. Authorities tried to stop it using stop sticks. However, charging documents say some of those sticks were avoided, but the driver's side front tire eventually blew apart around mile marker 137, and it went into the ditch near the New Munich exit. After Burdenground Jr. was arrested, a complaint states the preliminary breath test showed he had a blood alcohol content of 0.10, and an empty bottle of Southern Comfort was found on the semi's floorboard.
You know what I'm always amazed by? You you always see tire debris on freeways. Always. I'm surprised that I've never been hit by a hunk of that.
How'd you like to be hit by that when you're on a bike?
Oh, my word, it would kill you. It would kill you.
That's why I never linger behind semis ever.
Yeah, same
And
with
those
me.
tires are made to just lose their treads.
Yeah,
Well, because they're rebuilt
retreads.
tires.
Right.
They're
They're
retreaded
retreads.
tires.
Yeah.
It always frightens me when I see folks on the highway who get right behind. They want to drift with the semi and just stay right behind it.
Yeah.
I will never do that. I'll always pass it. I don't want to follow the
Yeah, I even speed up to pass them. But what do you suppose this guy is thinking? Do you think is he actually thinking he's going to outrun them and lose them, or is he just a dumb drunk
Just
asshat?
hammered. Just dumb,
I
dumb
think it was just
hammered guy.
the Southern Comfort perhaps was telling him what to do at that point.
Courage.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But just think, by 2035, that'll be an electric semi.
That's right.
Trying to go uphill in the truck lane.
Never mind, there'll be no power to charge it, but
Right.
it'll be electric.
Well, you'll be charging your house at
Now
that
you
point.
can charge your house with it.
Those
Semis are tough to get in under the 48-hour rule.
I'd say.
They're very
Yeah,
noticeable.
that-
How many do you have to have already sitting there?
6.
Yeah,
I'd
to where
say-
she won't notice.
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve yesterday approved a fourth consecutive 3/4 point interest rate increase and signaled potential change on how it'll approach monetary policy to try and bring down inflation. In a well-telegraphed move that markets had been expecting for weeks, the central bank raised its short-term borrowing rate by 0.75 percentage point, 3/4, to a target range of 3.75 to 4%. That is the highest level since 2008. The move continued the most aggressive pace of monetary policy tightening since the early 80s, the last time inflation ran this high.
Chris, what was the line your buddy gave you? You'll get less house, but the good news is it'll cost you more?
Basically, I asked him about the rise in interest rates, and he said, well, the good news is you're going to get less of a house, but the bad news is you're going to get less of a house, but the good news is you're going to pay twice as much as you would have a year ago
Yeah.
in your monthly payment, which is pretty accurate.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
Why
Well,
does he always
speaking
have
of,
to say, guess what? And I'm not joking. If you'll notice, he's always saying, that's no joke. You can plug your car into your house. That's no joke.
I think it's one of his.
I didn't think it was a joke, Joe.
I think it's one of his verbal crutches,
Oh.
and we all have them. But
I don't think you're funny, Joe. I didn't think it was a joke.
right.
It's my favorite one.
Speaking of Joe, we discussed this a bit earlier in his speech yesterday. The president warning that candidates who refuse to accept Tuesday's results could set the nation on a path to chaos. Biden's assessment came as the FBI and other agencies have forecast that threats of violence from domestic terrorists are likely to be on the rise after the election. The president said of those unwilling to accept the outcome of U.S. elections, quote, it's unprecedented, it's unlawful, and it's un-American. Meanwhile, former New Jersey Governor Christine Todd Whitman, who is or was a Republican, said during an Axios News Shapers event yesterday, part of her hope is that all the crazies do win during the midterms so that Americans realize the consequences. She did add then, though, but I realize I don't want to live in that world and I don't want to leave it for my grandkids, the damage they might do. Whitman told Axios' Elena Treen that the Republican Party has become a cult and added there's no set of central principles on which it's based. She said the GOP retaking Congress would be a rough 2 years. I suppose I have to put that down, mark that down, right, according to Derry, because they said...
The great irony about the 220 election is that it's the most attacked election in our history. And yet, there's no election in our history that we can be more certain of its results.
See?
Every legal challenge that could have been brought was brought.
There you go. Straight from the
pretty
horse's
much,
mouth.
I pretty much agree with everything you just said.
Yeah, but the problem is, John, he has no idea what he's saying. That's the problem.
What if Philadelphia beats Houston tonight 3-2, and Dusty goes out and says, I don't accept this.
Yeah.
I'm filing a lawsuit.
Well,
I think that will happen someday.
I do too. I do
Seriously,
too.
I do. That's
If you're going to tell me that 4 pitchers got a no-hitter, nothing will surprise me.
Yep.
Continuing with the politics, meanwhile, this should come as a shock to no one. A study by the Pew Research Center found that 61% of us adults in the U.S. Find both parties unfavorable. About a quarter of Americans say they have an unfavorable view of both parties.
That would be me. I'd be in that group.
Yeah, I'd be in that group too. Just not too long ago, 1994, that was only 6%. So we've.
Isn't that something?
You know what we're all asking ourselves?
What?
Where's the party?
Where is the party?
Where is the party?
No winner. The Powerball drawing last night.
Damn it!
That means
I'm gonna have
sad.
to get a ticket.
You didn't already?
No.
Oh, not high enough. 1.2
Yeah,
million.
that's not-
1.2
Yeah, that
million
wasn't
just didn't do
enough.
it for you.
It's all based on if I happen to be there with a car that needs gas.
What's the ROI on $2 versus $1.5 billion?
We don't want to go into lottery talk.
Lotto talk.
Saturday's drawing should be about $1.5 billion, as Rook just said. There were some winning tickets sold yesterday in Minnesota, a $1 million Powerball ticket and 3 $50,000 tickets. The million one, it was sold at a Quick Trip in Hinckley. The $3 $50,000
Quick Trips.
Ooh, I bet he got a burger with that.
I got a Quick Trip burger last Saturday.
Nice.
That's
Mushroom
the
and Swiss?
damn thing I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
The $3 $50,000 ticket sold at a Holiday in Coon Rapids, a Gas Plus in Roseville, and a Speedway in Litchfield.
How are those prepared and served? Those
They have a
Quick Trip?
kitchen inside
Boy,
each one of
it's,
their
it's,
stations.
they got a chef.
So
they
it's
got
not,
a chef.
It's not something that's been floating around in warm water.
No,
all
in fact, if your
afternoon?
timing is right, you can be there when the gal brings out a
Yeah.
new batch of them.
fresh
And just pluck one off, and it's still steaming.
It's fun
hot.
to just linger there for hours waiting for
I
that
love it.
action to happen.
Quick Trip
and-
rocks.
And they do not leave them there for long periods of
No.
time, Kenny.
Wow.
They replace them. As soon
I
as
got to get me to Quick Trip.
Oh, I wish they
Holy
advertised
cow.
with us because I could say great things about it.
their food counter is okay. Anyway,
The other piece of audio, was the president recently at Union Station?
I don't know.
I believe he
I
was.
don't know.
And when he
I don't know.
don't have his itinerary, Chris. Sorry.
he addressed the crowd
Yeah.
right away as if to say, well, thanking them for being there.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What?
Gays and gentlemen?
He was trying to say, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Sounds like he's been on the Southern Comfort.
These
Maybe he was robbing a semi.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
It's all right now.
It's nothing Ted Kennedy never said. You could never understand him either.
Well, he was also S-faced.
Right.
The suspect who violently assaulted Paul Pelosi was in the U.S. illegally, immigration officials have confirmed. David DePape was a visitor on an expired temporary visitor visa from Canada, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has asked San Francisco County to hand DePape over to the agency, meaning that he could eventually be deported back to Canada if he's convicted of crimes against Pelosi, who would have to first complete his sentence here. Law enforcement, by the way, determined that he had been living for the last 2 years in a garage of a residence in Richmond, just outside of San Francisco. In the garage, among other things, agents found hammers, a sword.
Wow.
A sword.
Ladies
Wow.
and gentlemen.
A sword.
Yeah, Southern Comfort.
Actually, Sean Connery, that's S words.
Yes.
That's S words, yeah. If
Let
you're,
it snow.
Oh, God.
Let
I
it
think this.
Snow.
Let
Let
it
it
snow.
snow for
I'd wear
200.
that sweater. You know, that does not make that guy a garage logician just because he was living in a garage.
No.
Okay.
This might be kind of a sex story, so I'm going to warn Derry ahead of in advance. If you're visiting the grounds around Area 51, there's another stop you can make there. It's the Alien Cat House, where
Hey.
prostitutes dress in space-themed outfits to offer an out-of-this-world experience.
Wow.
If it's come to that, and that's what it takes,
Yeah.
this is the place to go.
Got to have the helmet on. The
Major
whole
that
Tom
means you've
Olsen
gone
over there.
To quote a friend, that means you've gone far too deep in the tabs.
Yep.
Okay,
The legal
take a few
UFO
days off.
The legal UFO-themed brothel is located in the Armagosa Valley of the Nevada desert, about 90 miles outside of Las Vegas. Alien hunters scoping out Area 51 are encouraged to visit with a large pink sign that points them in the correct direction. But as you get closer to the entrance, another sign reads, "We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone." This whole thing was first set up by Dennis Hoff. You might remember him.
Yeah.
If you ever watched the Cat House show on HBO, he was the
He
fellow.
was the proprietor.
The proprietor, thank you, Joe.
You're late, right?
He's dead, yes. After Hoff's death, this was bought by Raman Sharma, with one of his management team telling Daily Star, "We have numerous legal courtesans that work at the Alien Cat House brothel. In addition to the obvious sci-fi, alien, or extraterrestrial theme, our brothel of current caters more to the visitor that is looking for the porn star experience niche. Greeting customers is shift manager Dee Dee, who always manages the bar there too. A toy chest is on display where buyers can purchase things like you use your imagination.
Sure.
And
Like small trucks, Tonka toys. That
exactly.
Got
Yes. One of the female employees of the Alien Cat House says, "Come on in, and all you have to do is bring your wallet and your imagination."
I've never driven the desert floor. I've been to Vegas many times. I've been all around that area. I've been there many times. But I've never driven the desert floor. I've never been anywhere near Area 51. Is it south of Vegas? I think it is. I think it's south of Vegas.
The closest
Well, Reavers and Kenny, you do a lot of road tripping. Have you ever been near Area 51?
I was going to say, I think the closest I should find that out. As I was, well, I don't know how close it was.
Oddly enough, it doesn't appear on the map.
Good one, Rick.
Thank you.
My next trip is going to include a trip to the Great Salt Flats. I want to see. I got to go there during a race day, I race week or month or whatever it is.
It's north of Vegas.
North of Vegas.
Yeah,
Right.
over north.
I would say I was probably 30 miles.
Okay.
When I did one of the Dum Dum runs.
John, thank you.
You bet.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Follow me.
Joe, but before we go to break, I'd like to tell you about our friends from Rise and Shine Garage Doors. I'm going to go really slow. I'm going to go so slow that we're going to be doing this ad till frickin' Saturday. That's how slow I'm going to go. Rise and Shine Garage Doors. Yeah, they were out at my place last Saturday. They did a bang-up job. They really did a nice job. They do a 29-point inspection, and they're going to tell you what they think should be done and what can probably hold off for a while, and that's exactly what they did with me. Give them a call, 651-300-3252. That's 651-300-3252. Or just go to their website, callriseandshine.com. And they have a 5-star rating on both Google and Yelp, and that's because customer service is the #1 most important thing to them. And they have certified technicians. They're not just hiring ding-dongs off the street like me and Rook. No, certified technicians are going to come out to your place, and they are so welcoming, and they are fantastic. And they also give you a 5% discount for seniors, military, and AAA members. And you might not live in the Twin Cities and think, well, I'm out of luck. No. They are expanding to Rochester, St. Cloud, Mankato, Northfield, Isanti, Cambridge. They will also cover certain parts of western Wisconsin. And don't forget to ask them about the Rooster Club membership. And that includes the tune-up on an annual basis. And they will waive the trip charge. That's right. Call riseandshine.com. Please tell them, Joe, that you heard about them right here on the Garage Logic Podcast.
It's really positive around here. That's because it's Positive Thursday. That's brought to us by SchoonoverBodyWorks.com. Mike is on the line with us. Schoonover Body Works is Shoreview, 1060 County E. And Play for Patrick had a big weekend last weekend. How'd it go, Mike?
Oh, Kenny, it went well. It went really well. We screened 160 some odd kids, and we found a number of them that had like high blood pressure, probably half a dozen kids, and then we found about a dozen kids that had abnormal readings on their either the EKG or their echocardiogram. So it was a success, and I don't think I shared with the GLers, but the Mayo Clinic joined us to do a research project that they're working on for hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is a thickening of the heart wall. So,
boy, that's great news.
It went really well, and they asked if they could participate in future heart screens. So that must mean that they like us. So that's a bit of good news.
Yeah, that is fantastic. I have a question. When you find irregular heartbeat or EKG, like you said, does all physical activity with that child have to stop at that point? What's the next step for those parents?
No, not necessarily. I mean, if it's severe enough, we'll let them know that. But none of these kids had that. And actually, there was a number of kids that had a small hole in their heart, a PFO as they call it. And we're all, those are supposed to close up as you grow older. But a good percentage of the population has those, and you can live with them. Sometimes when you get older, you could have a stroke, or you might have migraine headaches or something along those lines. But anyway, just, like it's knowledge is power. So when we say that we found, a dozen or so abnormal readings, it doesn't mean it's a death sentence. It just means that that family has more information, and they got time that they can make some corrections or get things fixed up. So that's really all it's about. So.
And if GLers need more information on heart screenings and Play for Patrick, where do we go?
www.playforpatrick.org.
Fantastic. Meanwhile, GLers, if you need anything body or auto repair related, and I mean anything from glass to tires, oil changes, body works, whatever, call up Schoonover Body Works and Glass in Shoreview. Over 80 years strong there, always rated as one of the Metro's top shops and the official body shop of Garage Logic, schoonoverbodyworks.com. Oh, we're a little late.
You cannot stop him. He'll just make
Oh,
a
jeez,
move.
yeah.
Joe Souchere.
Well, I'm waiting for my call, EcoFun Motorsports, to come and pick up my scooter and store it for the winter and tune it up and change the oil and tend the battery, all for about $260. I think it's great. I can't wait. Frees up space in the garage. I don't know if EcoFun Motorsports has any space left, but you can find out. Call 612-321-8867. That's EcoFun Motorsports on Highway 97, immediately west of the interstate in Forest Lake, and the Burnsville store at 35, the service road on 35E, next to County Road 42. Take $100 off now if you're a GLer on the price tag of any scooter or electric bike. Plus, they'll provide free winter storage in case you don't want to take it home and stare at it as garage art all winter. They'll keep it for you. And they've got the great youth recreational equipment, those ATVs for kids. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Take $500 off one of the golf carts. They'll store that for you in the winter, too. But you got to mention GL. These are GL exclusive offers from EcoFun Motorsports. They've been with this show since almost the very beginning, and their business is growing, and they love you, the GLers. Great service. They have apparel and helmets, this great pickup and delivery service. And right now, the scooters that turn every urban errand into adventure. If you're a GLer, knock $100 off. Electric bikes, you name it. These all turn errands into adventures. They're wonderful, wonderful recreational equipment at EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake and Burnsville, EcoFunMotorsports.com.
To bring an off-air conversation on air, thanks to Hans, he's 100% right. We were talking about where did Elon Musk get his money, his origination.
Yeah.
And he was basically on the ground floor of PayPal.
Oh, he was?
Yes. In fact, he was the largest shareholder when eBay purchased PayPal in 2002, in which he received $175.8 million because he owned just shy of 12% of the shares of PayPal.
Well, $178 million doesn't get you to $100
but
billion.
He was also in on the early stages of SpaceX.
Aha.
So that's a large... Anyway, he's a smart guy. He knows how to make a buck.
Moral and ethical integrity is so depleted.
How depleted is it?
Yeah.
We have a cheating scandal in the American Cornhole League World Championships.
Oh,
man.
It's even fun.
What?
There's a cheating scandal in the 2022 American Cornhole League World Championships in South Carolina. DeJuan Harbaugh filed a formal complaint against cornhole players Mark Richards and Phil Lopez claiming the number 1 ranked doubles team used illegal bean bags.
Oh, man.
I thought those bags were too thin, Harbaugh said. A $15,000 purse was on the line in the game where competitors tossed bags filled with resin beans into a hole on a board.
You ever?
We've had cheating in fishing tournaments where they're putting lead weights in the belly of the walleye.
They were almost throwing hands in that one. If you saw the video,
Yes, I
in
did.
the fishing one. Have you ever played a nice game of cornhole,
No,
Joe?
and I never will.
Oh,
it's fun.
Really?
Oh, it's
we had a little home thing here. We used to
Well,
play
it's
all
not
the
a
time.
game. It's a hunk of wood with a hole, and you throw
What?
some.
It's like
no,
it's like
fun.
horseshoes. Come on,
I'm
it's
with
just like
Joe.
horseshoes.
I would rather throw shoes. I've never played one game.
I'm not going to go into this.
Kenny, this is right up your alley.
No, it's not.
cheating scandal.
No.
Yeah.
You know what?
And speaking of that, I would rather go all the way back to the 70s and play jarts.
Yeah.
Where somebody
Well,
could get
same
wounded, mortally wounded.
Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Mpumalanga, South Africa, from the Traveling Lymans, celebrating their 10th anniversary of traveling these days at worldwidewaftage.com. It was on this day,
November 3rd.
in 1895, a fire began in a flour mill and destroyed the town of Walcott in Rice County. Walcott had prospered for nearly 50 years, but the community decided not to rebuild.
I know where Walcott is.
It was on this day in 1908, Bronco Nagurski was born in Ontario. In 1929, he would be named All-American as both defensive tackle and offensive fullback for the Gophers, the only player to be named All-American for 2 positions in the same year. He played for the Chicago Bears, and he performed as a professional wrestler. After his retirement from sports, he sat on a chair outside a gas station in International Falls.
Didn't we do a show about him, John, on Krabby? I think we did.
We had something about the gas station, I think, didn't we? I thought.
No,
you were right.
it was trading card. A trading card got sold or something.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember.
Joe, Walcott Township is when you head out of Faribault, you go south towards. It's about halfway between Faribault and Medford.
Joe,
On
can
this
you
day-
name all the townships in the state?
No, I cannot. On this day in 1989, what happened in sports?
November 3rd of 1989. It has to be Timberwolves related. Am I right?
They played their first ever game.
Yep.
Losing to the Supersonics 106-94.
At the Metrodome.
That's right.
In front of about 50,000, I bet.
That's right. I might have been there. I think I was.
You had to have been covering that one.
Yeah, but in 89, I was not a sports writer, but I still think I was there.
Okay.
On this day in 1992,
November 3rd.
Alan Page was elected Associate Justice of the state Supreme Court. All right. And finally, on this day in 1998, what happened? This also
November
vaguely
3rd.
affirms.
Governor Ventura related.
Jesse was elected governor of the state of Minnesota.
And boy, did we party in Mankato, man.
The DFL and Republican candidates split much of the vote, and Reform Party candidate Ventura, who had been mayor of Brooklyn Park and a host of a radio talk show on KSTP in the Twin Cities, took the prize. Ventura would later switch his affiliation to the Independent Party of Minnesota, and his administration would focus on education and tax reform.
Wait a minute. When he won the election, wasn't he working at the Fan?
No,
No,
not that I'm aware
I
of.
think he
No.
worked at the
I'm
Fan.
not sure that he ever did.
Yeah, he did.
I thought he was.
He
okay.
replaced Kenny and Bob at both places.
Oh.
Or Bob and Kenny, excuse me. Where the hell did that come from?
Thank
Oh,
you,
you
G.
gotta be-
Ellers. Thank
gotta be
you.
first, don't
Much
you,
better
Kenny?
effort today. Thank you
Dummy.
very much.
Yes. GLers, do us a favor, as we have mentioned several times. If you haven't done so, think about joining the Garage Logic Town Council for just $10 a month or $100 a year. This does not affect anything related to the free podcast you're still going to get. This is added content, 24/7 members-only access that you're going to receive. Just find out more, garagelogic.com. You can follow us on all of our social media channels, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And, of course, YouTube. Subscribe to the Garage Logic YouTube channel because there we are posting daily content for your amusement. Boy, never a better time than now to check in with our guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. And Jailers, now's the time for you to do the same. Pick up that phone and make that call for that free 48-minute financial consultation by dialing 952-925-5608. That number, once again, is 952-925-5608. You call that number, you get Josh. And boy, are you going to get straight talk, because you are never going to get sugar-coated advice from the man himself, Josh Arnold. And Josh, today, where to begin, but boy, the Fed just seems to be the center of attention these days, doesn't it?
Yes, the Fed has been the center of attention all year. And the Fed has said, well, we've got to fight inflation. We've got to fight inflation. Inflation's too high. Inflation's too high. Well, quite frankly, they have shifted from inflation being too low, and we have to do everything we can to increase inflation. We want the inflation target at 2%. When inflation was below 2%, oh, this is horrible. We need 2% inflation. There aren't enough people working. We need more people working. We need more people working. We need them to be paid higher incomes. So we at the Fed are going to buy bonds at very low interest rates in an attempt to spur the economy. We're going to keep interest rates low because that will spur the economy. Well, lo and behold, and we've gone over this before, we have a government-mandated shutdown / recession for a good part of 2020 and into 2021 that was made easier by both the Federal Reserve's actions and government's actions to distribute plenty of money to help out with their government-mandated shutdown. Now, as people took their medicine, i.e. their vaccines, and speaking of vaccines, one of the vaccine manufacturers, Moderna, issued their earnings today, and they missed on, we'll say, the top and bottom line, and they guided down, looking at prices lower on their COVID vaccine. But maybe they should just give that vaccine away, give it to China, and let the Chinese use it to open up their economy, which has helped in, we'll say, slowing things down. But at the same time, with plenty of demand and limited supply, prices have gone up. And then as prices have gone up, a lot of manufacturers, and you can see this at the grocery store, whether it's from General Mills or Kellogg's or Pepsi-Cola or any other food distributor, have been raising prices, and we've been paying for that. That's inflationary. In the meantime, while food prices or prices at the grocery store have gone up, Federal Reserve has looked and said, there's still inflation. We're going to have to raise interest rates and sell our bonds, and they're selling bonds at they're selling bonds as interest rates have moved higher. They're getting less for those bonds. So the Fed is taking losses, I believe, on the bonds that they're selling into the marketplace. Nobody bothers to talk about that, nor the fact that the Fed is losing value on the bonds that remain in their balance sheet as interest rates move up. Now, of course, if you own a bond and you hold that to maturity, you're going to get your face value back. But if you want to sell that bond prior to maturity and interest rates are up, values are going to be down. We have pointed that out before. If you look at the long-term Treasury Index, TLT, it's gone from $148 a share in January to $95.75 currently. It's down year-to-date as much as Amazon.com. That is not good. That said, yesterday the Fed finished their meeting. They came out with their statement. The market reacted positively because the comments seemed to indicate that the Fed could be easing back on the size of their raises. They raised 0.75%, the fourth time in a row that they have done that. Yet during the conference call, Fed Chairman Jay Powell came out and indicated it was premature to pause. He said that the wait, not for real-time data, but for the CPI reports before they'll act, and they'll want several CPI reports. Well, the CPI reports are dominated by rents. Rents are still going up, ever so slightly, but they're still going up. Wages are still high. And even should the Fed push us into a recession, and even Jay Powell said, well, if we over-tighten, big deal. We have the tools to go the other way, but we sooner go too far, then not far enough. I am just livid because the implication is we want to see everybody poorer. We want to see higher unemployment and lower wages because that'll reduce inflation. That will definitely reduce asset values, house values, and people's wealth. What kind of nonsense is that?
Boy, you hit the nail on the head, Mr. Money Talk. GLers, you heard him. Now's the time for you to pick up that phone and make that call for that free 48-minute financial consultation by doing just what I did. Pick up that phone and dial 952-925-5608, where you're always going to get straight talk and you're never going to get sugar-coated advice. Josh, once again, thank you so much for the time and the chat. Try to have a great rest of your day and a good weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
I'll be just as mad next week. But if next week is election day, remember to go out and vote.
Hear, hear.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.